Hello everyone and welcome again to the Voices 360. I remain your host on this show, Steph, and today we will be continuing the discussion we had on our previous video titled How to Have the Difficult Conversations. And I'm sure if you haven't watched the first part of this series, you should go back and listen to it. We're going to put the description and the link below so you can easily locate it. Moving forward, we talked about having difficult conversations with our colleagues or our spouse or partner, and we mentioned 3 points that you should quickly go back and listen to them rather. I'm just going to highlight them before we continue. We have up to 9 points, okay? So we talked about being bold and courageous, and clearly stating out your concerns and defining key points, and not being judgmental. If you want to know how we explained that, what we said, and how you can relate to it in your everyday life, that video is for you. It's a short clip, and I think it will be worth the while. We're back again. So we'll just go straight to the 4th point because I know you are interested in hearing. So the 4th point is silence is golden. Yeah. One would say, why would he be quiet when we're having this conversation? My dear, if you don't know about silence, it's really golden. You should allow your spouse or the other party to process all you have said. And you need to do the same likewise. A lot of things have been said. Maybe it became a heated conversation or not, but a lot have been said, and trust me, for you to get to that resolution you want, you need time to process, you need time to think. I'm not saying walk away now from the conversation. No, I'm only saying you need either 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 5 minutes to process. However fast it takes your brain to actually process it. So, you need to also accord the other party that as well. They need to process it. You need to process all you have said, okay? You do not have to talk because no one is talking. I do that sometimes. If my spouse isn't responding, I'm like, I just want to talk, so that it doesn't mean the conversation is over or I'm in sync with all what he has said, or no, I just want to talk. But the truth is, you do not have to talk. Give yourself the courtesy of processing what you've heard, processing your thoughts, okay? Do not talk. If he wants that peace for 1 or 2 minutes, oblige him. And I'm sure you also need that peace as well, just to process it. Okay? During that time, it's the perfect opportunity for you to weigh what has been said. How does it affect you? Okay? How does it affect the outcome you're looking to get? Are you willing to compromise? Okay? Or is compromise not an option? That's what you should be thinking within that golden moment. Silence, that moment of silence. You should be thinking about that. Number 5, try not to be defensive. Well, a lot of time having these conversations, they hit the roof, all because both parties or either party is being defensive. By default, we try to have upper hand in our argument, okay, which makes us act defensive towards the other fellow. You do not want to be the last man talking, or rather, you do not want not to be the last man talking. So you want to be defensive, you always want to say something. No, you do not. On the contrary, you do not. When the feeling of being defensive comes, snuff it out. Like, seriously, you need to snuff it out. Now, let me tell you how I snuff it out. Now, this is what I do. I know, okay, and I need to tell you, snuffing it out, it's not like magic. No, it's not an instant process. Okay? It's a process, but not instantaneous. You have to ask yourself questions. What do I stand to gain? Is my ego getting the better part of me? What fears am I exhibiting right now? Those are questions you need to answer. You see why silence is golden? Exactly, it's golden. Because these are the things you need to do during this process. And it's up to you to always try to uphold a healthy conversation, not up to the other party. So if you have your spouse listening to this conversation, to this podcast, okay, they need to also know that it's their responsibility to also try to uphold healthy conversation. So if each party know these responsibility and assume these roles, then you're sure to have great healthy conversations that will better your union, your relationships, your work life, your professional life. Yeah. So, as we said, you need to expose the hurt you feel by accepting it exists. So, now, this is what I do. I'll tell my husband, because we are religious. I am religious, okay? I'm a practicing Christian. So I tell my husband, I would say, this is how this makes me feel. And by feeling this way, these are the thoughts that comes in mind. The devil sips this thought, of course. What is he trying to do? To steal your peace and to destroy the joy you have in your home by infusing thoughts into your head. And the Bible says, any thought that exalts itself above the knowledge of Christ, what shall you do? You condemn it. So what do? You expose this fear, expose the negative thoughts that is already building in your heart. Okay, expose it to your husband. Say, this is how I feel. This is the hurt I feel when I think about this. Okay, expose it. That way, you're laying it down, and now you are open to have that conversation. There is nothing hidden. There's no underlining thing that you're trying not to express now because you've expressed it already. Okay. And that way, it doesn't project into your conversation because now the other party knows that this exists and both of you have already ruled it out. Okay? That's what to do. So that way, you're not punishing the other person for something that might not even be the cause of. So this underlying hurt might be pressure from work. So pressure from work, pressure from peer groups, these things can actually make little situation escalate in your mind. So when you expose these things, you're removing the weight from the other person. Okay, moving ahead. I'm sure. I hope you're being blessed by this point. So we're going to move on to part number 6 now. Point number 6: communicating effectively. If you remember from the second point, we said you should be clear, right? So now you should defining your terms. Okay, yeah, clearly point out your concerns by defining your terms. That was point number 2. So now, when it comes to communicating effectively, okay, you always have to ask for clarity when you do not understand what was said. Clarity can never be overemphasized. What you thought you heard might not be what was actually said. It could seem like that was what was said, but that wasn't the interpretation you gathered, wasn't the intent of the speaker. So you really need to ask for clarity so you know exactly what the person meant when they said what they said. Okay? So what you need to do is say what you think you understood from what was said, and you ask for confirmation or clarification of any misconception. That way you give your spouse or your colleague at work the opportunity to express themselves clearly. Okay? Likewise, if you feel what you said or what you're trying to explain could have another meaning, okay, you could also ask whoever you have in the conversation with what they understood by what they said. You would ask, do you understand? If they say yes, then you ask, please, what do you understand from what I just said? In that way, it gives you the opportunity to further explain or express yourself so they come to the same point you were trying to address, okay? Yeah, I hope you caught that. The 7th point is, how do you respond? Honestly, you have to acknowledge everything you've heard, whether you agree with them or not. Exactly, or not. Remember, whether you agree or not, you have to acknowledge. Then you come to an agreement of the things you are both in sync with. So talking about my spouse and I, what we said was, okay, now what we have to do is, I know you have to work and I need my quality time. So now, when you're doing things, can I at least do them with you? Teach me, so we're spending those times together. Or can you work within from this period to this period, even when when we're back from work and you think you need to do some extra stuff, you're gonna need to ask me for permission, then I grant them to you. So that's like having the compromise. Now I think I just said the last explained to you the compromise step before I mentioned having the compromise. So now you see those things you agree on, quality time, we both agree that yes, we need to spend quality time together as families, because the get keep going getting, right? Whatever that phrase was, I've forgotten. So you just keep doing what you need to do. So we're chasing the money. I'm sure at some point we're going to stop chasing the money and the money starts to chase us. Amen, somebody. So for now, we are chasing the money, and we're going to keep trying to make more money and trying to reach out to lives. Apart from making money, we also try to reach out to lives. So we're going to keep doing these things. So in as much as we are doing these things, we both agree that as a family, we need to be intentional with making our time for each other. So remember, we're both in sync with that. We agreed to do those things. So the compromise now was, when we need to take extra time to do extra curriculum, we need to ask each other, hey babe, can I have one time? Can I still 1 hour, 2 hours? And you say, no, 45 minutes and your time starts now. That's compromise. So you need to know that you have to move forward, and you always need to compromise on the things you do not agree on, okay? Yep, so now we're going to the 8th point. You need to know when to stop the conversation. Yeah, I know. Hard and difficult conversations could become hostile and dangerous and very unhealthy, and you do not want to continue. You need to know when to stop the conversation. That doesn't mean you're a coward. It means you're bold and you're courageous. You have the intuition to know, hey, this is leading to something that we do not want, or I do not want, and you have to put a heart on it. You have to press the brakes, okay? Now, how do you know when to stop? When to press the brake and press it real hard? When you feel belated. And remember, feeling belated, you have to be sure to have ruled out your ego in play. Ego or ego? Okay, ego, okay? You have to know when you have to have ruled it out, okay? So after ruling it out, if you still feel that this person is being hostile and belittling you and causing this psychological and emotional trauma, you just press the brake, girl. Just press it, guy. Press it and press it real hard. Stop the conversation. Now, another thing to do is when you feel you're not being heard. Like I said, effective communication is very crucial to having healthy conversations and healthy resolution. So if you think the person is just listening to you, or rather hearing you and not listening, so it means you're not being heard, you need to stop the conversation. And how do you stop the conversation? So it's not like a car. I'm saying press the brakes. You don't have the brake pedal to press. So all you need to do is tell them that I would like to revisit this issue because I do not feel heard, or because it's becoming too intense and that wasn't my intent. Can we please reschedule for one other time? And that's all you need to do. Stop it and insist that you need to stop it. So another time could be in the next 20 minutes. Another time, it doesn't mean next 2 weeks. No. You just need to stop it at that time. Let everybody go take a chill pill. Take a walk in the park. Just do whatever you need to do. Then come back with a clear head and revisit the conversation. So now the last point is learn to have that conversation with yourself. Everybody feels the other person is being difficult, but trust me, sometimes it could just be you thinking that there is something somewhere happening and there is nothing. Okay, it's just the mind game. We all have it sometimes. So we need to check our head, have the conversation with yourself. How do I feel right now? Am I being selfish with my wants, with my desire? Am I being selfish? You need to ask, especially if you're in a marital relationship, you do not want to be selfish. You need to be selfless, okay? What opinion do I have on this matter at hand? How do I think my spouse will feel about this? Okay? Ask yourself these questions. They're really crucial. You really need to check your head before you want to start that conversation in the first place. So this is like a routine thing everybody needs to do. You really need to do it. Even when you're talking to your boss at work or your colleague at work, like, okay, how would they feel? Do I have this conversation or just let it go? Now, let me go is after you've asked yourself this question, it could just be you. It could just be you. So when you've checked the box that it was just you, you let it go. Okay? Then you say, what are your weaknesses? Are your weaknesses playing the role here? Are they taking advantage? Are they like the key outflyers here? Check. What are your fears? What are your fears? You need to know your fears. You need to tell yourself, okay? And always remember, by doing this, having the conversation with yourself, okay, you be the best of you. And of course, you can always be the best version of you. We have come to the end of this series. Thank you so much for listening so far, and I hope that you have gained some value from this discussion. Have yourself a wonderful day, and do not forget to like and share the content with your family and friends, and drop in your comment. If this has helped you, I want to know the outcome, okay? I want to know the outcome. I want to help you through this process. So if you do not comment, I want to know how to relate with you, okay? And how to take you to the next step to have that healthy conversations. And if there's something you want me to talk about, put it in the comment section below, and trust me, I read every comment and I'll be sure to get back to you. Until the next video, I remain your host, Steph. Have yourself a wonderful day. Bye-bye.